Good evening. Saturday. Welcome to Leonard Leans Left. While it's still legal. It's good to see you. A lot has happened. I don't know if you saw that shit show yesterday. But I just saw something that I wanted to talk about right away. If you think that Republicans are going to do something, they're not. 75% of Republicans now want the war to end, even if Russia gets to keep their land that they got from invasion. I just saw that. It was a poll, but and the trend lines from 2 years ago, it was like 67% didn't want the war to end, and it's almost a total flip-flop. So if you think the Republicans are going to do something, they're not. But beyond that, just what happened at all, like the very fact that happened, like that Trump is running a reality television show out of the White House. That was totally staged for television. And hipster Nazi with his Oshkosh bagosh tiny little pants talking a lot of shit. I'll tell you this much. J.D. Vance has a big mouth for somebody who has never done anything. Whose resume consists of licking Peter Thiel's balls. It's unbelievable. Alright, so what was that? What's going on with the chat? I'm trying to open this chat box, but something's going on with it. It's going a little slow. Anyway, yeah, that was totally staged. Like, they waited till the last question and then attacked him. Like, and if you don't think, all right, the chat is up. So if you want to talk to me, you can. Is it the golden age yet? I mean, is this it? Is this the golden age of America? That's what he promised us. The golden age of America. To me, it looks like he's just destroying the transatlantic alliance that's stood since World War II. And I don't think the 75% of Republicans remember that in 1994, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, Ukraine had nuclear weapons. They were convinced to give them up as when, after the fall of the Soviet Union, there were nuclear weapons laying around everywhere. And so, I believe it was Bill Clinton. I'm not 100% certain. I'd have to look at who was president. But there was a big effort to try to clean up these weapons and get them off of the... yes, the rug really ties the room together. That's why I said it really ties the show together. It's better than, like I said, somebody said I look like a serial killer sitting in a basement. So, I was looking around to buy something to hang up behind me, but they were all cheesy. And then I remembered, I got this rug. And I have this metal, like, cage thing that will hold it. So... I rigged it up myself. Anyway, back to what I was saying. In 1994, Ukraine was convinced to give up their nuclear weapons. Why? With assurances that we would have their back in case something like this happened. So now we're going to go. I mean, Trump wants to leave NATO, so why not this too? I mean, he's totally not a Russian puppet. You're a communist if you think that. But he's going, yes, Clinton. That's what I said. I believe it was Bill Clinton was president at that time. And they were trying to clean up all those nuclear weapons that were laying around after the Soviet Union collapsed. Oh, I didn't try this yet. I've been wanting to try this Italian beer, Peroni. I saw it at my work, so, and lots of people buy it. So I was like, I never had it before. It's pretty good. It tastes like something I've had before. It's like a slightly stronger Rolling Rock. It's gonna get a lot worse. Yeah, you didn't see? The Norwegians today refused to refuel our submarine. And they said they encourage other Europeans to do the same. And not cooperate anymore with us militarily, or, you know, at least fueling up the ships. I mean, this is just the beginning. Like I said, this is just the beginning of the unraveling of the post-World War II era. Trump is going to turn his back on all of our allies. And what I don't understand is, even if the Republicans want, let's give them the grace of saying, okay, I understand they wanted the war to end in Ukraine because they don't want to send any more money or whatever, and they think it's a drain on us somehow. Even though we give them money, they use that money to buy our weapons. So we basically get the money anyway. I mean, it comes back into our economy through the defense contractors. So, all of this is just such bullshit. I mean, and the Republicans now live in this world like they just made up their own world. And it's government by internet conspiracy theory. And it's only been, what, a month? 2 months? And it's already unraveling. That's all this guy said that today. He said, well, it's unraveling a lot faster than we thought it would. It's like, yeah, you think? It's amazing what competent people can do to keep, and we haven't even felt the effect. The guy was saying today, okay, let's say you have a grandma, right? And this is the kind of shit that people don't think about when they're yelling, yeah, go, Doge, you're in cut the fat. Is this. Let's say you have a grandma on Social Security. Let's say there's a mistake. Yeah, he's going to pardon Pete Rose. Yes, because Trump, Dan Friedman says they're going to pardon Pete Rose. Yes, they're going to pardon Pete Rose. Because, you know, Trump's always on top of the important issues. Which is pardoning a dead guy who banged a 16-year-old chick and got kicked out of baseball for gambling. And I mean, Pete is a sticky subject here because, you know, he was our hometown hero. So it's a divisive issue in Cincinnati. People either love Pete Rose or they hate him. See, Pete Rose, I mean, let's talk about Pete for a second. Pete Rose was the kind of guy that, yeah, pardoning Pete will make the eggs cheaper. I don't think he's going to get a hand on the egg issue. I really don't. We couldn't get any eggs for a while at the store. It was real thin, and then they were able to get some. So our manager is like one of those guys like, oh, well, we better get a bunch because... So they bought like 3 pallets of eggs, and now the cooler has been filled with 3 pallets of eggs now for 2 weeks. It's like a bank vault. You open it up, it's like, oh, there sure is a lot of eggs. That would have been a smart idea if they didn't have a 2-carton limit. See, he's like, doesn't matter how many eggs you buy when there's a 2-carton limit. people can only buy two cartons, so I'm not gonna sell them that fast. You could probably sold the whole thing if they would have lifted that limit. Anyway, yeah. Pete was the kind of guy that said, and I will admit 100%, he was the greatest baseball player that's ever lived that I've ever seen. I mean, maybe physically there's been better, more talented people, but as far as baseball, like, no one was like Pete. He was the greatest, and no one's got that many hits. No one's even close. So, till someone gets close, he's the man as far as that goes. But again, he couldn't stay out of his own way. He drink, gamble, chase around young chicks, cheat on his wife. He was an arrogant prick. There's a documentary on Netflix about him right before he died. When they were trying to get him into the Hall of Fame, and even then they gathered these reporters together, and you would think that at this point he would be a little humble because he's trying to get into the Hall of Fame. Nope. He went right after the chick, said something crude. Pissed everybody off. It's like he said, he couldn't get out of his own way. He couldn't help himself. He was like Trump, kind of, in that respect. Like, he's a dick, and he's always going to be a dick. There ain't nothing you can do about he's an egotistical fucking jerk off. Anyway, back to Ukraine. They gave up their nuclear weapons with assurances from us that we would have their back. And now we're not going to have their back. And now we're going to leave NATO when, like I said, the only country to ever pull Article 5 in the history of NATO is us. And all those countries came to our aid and helped us when we were attacked on 9/11. And this is how we're going to treat them. But here was my greater point. I almost lost the greater point, which was these Republicans hated Russia. I mean, let's talk about Vladimir Putin for a second, okay? Now, regardless of how you feel about Russia, because I know some Russians and they're cool. The people that run the produce company that deliver produce to the store I work, they're Russians. They're cool. My friend Aydin was a Turkish guy. His wife was Russian, and she had a bunch of Russian girlfriends, and I met them. They're all nice people. The average Russian, just like anybody, the average person anywhere is pretty much like the average person anywhere. I mean, if people are left to their own devices, usually they're pretty cool. I mean, it doesn't matter where you come from. Anyway, Vladimir Putin himself is a fucking prick. Jerk off, hardcore murderer. I mean, he's had people murdered. Right on TV, like he doesn't even care. And you think that this is the kind of guy that you should trust, that we could be allies with these people, that he's not going to stab you in the back, or he's not playing some game. He's playing a game, bro. And Donald Trump is way out of his league. And people, they can say whatever they want. The line today, or across the right wing media is, oh, Trump's standing up for America finally. Like, how is what he's doing giving Vladimir Putin everything he wants, and leaving NATO maybe, which is what he wants. He might not be a Russian agent, but he sure acts like one when he's on TV. And how is that standing up for America? I'd like to know that. Like, if anyone can explain that to me, that would be good, because Doesn't seem to me like shitting all over the people who you've been allied with for the last 100 years. Well, it's not maybe 100 years. Well, I guess it is 100 years since it was because World War One, two, and then World War Two. We had pretty much had the same allies. So 100 years, and now we're going to throw in with China and Russia, North Korea. And what happens when we need help? When we need somebody? There ain't gonna be no one there. What happens if Xi and Putin are playing some game and they suck Trump in? And you go, yeah, we're going to be your friends. And then they turn on us. And then no one else will help us because Trump pissed off everybody. I mean, don't you see the possibilities here? Yeah, well, the Russian mob is their government, Dan. I'm sorry, I should be reading these comments. Dan Friedman says he is an agent. My dad used to say the Russian mob bought him when he went into Atlantic City. Yes, the Taj Mahal was just a big money washing machine. And Dan also says the Russian mob is an extension of their government. No, the Russian mob is their government. You didn't see that move? The gangster move? That guy that runs the Wagner group? He tried to have that little coup, and somehow they talked him out of it. I don't know why he didn't go through with it, because he in that spot he might have got away with it, but he stopped for some reason, and like a week later his plane just blew up, and then Putin got on TV and was like, I give my condolences to his wife and family. Like, dude, that is some gangster shit. That is straight up gangster. And he's like, yes, I blew him up on live television. Now I give my sympathy to your family. That's some gangster shit. Trump is not. That's what was funny about the Zelensky thing. Trump and Vance both are trying to bully this guy who could get up and kill them both with his bare hands, I'm sure. And Rubio too, probably. He probably killed all three of them with his bare hands in less than like 20 seconds. Ain't none of these guys ready for this. None of them. Okay, Trump was president before, but he's a fucking buffoon. And J.D. Vance has never done anything. That's it. J.D. Vance is, I like to call him the hipster Nazi. The hipster Nazi J.D. Vance. He got them tiny little Oshkosh Bagosh pants, which he can fit into because he doesn't have any testicles to fucking get in the way. His only accomplishment is licking Peter Thiel's balls. I went through this the other day. He hasn't done anything. He was in the military. He went to Iraq. He was writing press releases from a trailer in Iraq. He's never done anything in his fucking life, and he's certainly never been in a position, in a power position, doing worldwide diplomacy. These guys are way out of their league. I said Marco Rubio, no matter what Rubio says, he sank into that couch. He didn't do nothing. And then afterwards, he was like, "Oh, that's exactly. Yeah, he's doing the right thing." Well, then he didn't look like he was doing the right thing. Marco Rubio looked like a guy who realized that his dream of becoming the first Hispanic president was fucking vaporizing right in front of his fucking eyes. Because and then, if you don't know this is true. J.D. Vance tried to sneak up to Vermont and go skiing, and everybody there realized he was there. So thousands of people showed up, and they chased him out of the ski resort. He had to run away to an undisclosed location. It's unbelievable. And Ohio elected J.D. Vance, but if you don't know this, he didn't win by a big margin. He barely won because he's not a likable person. He doesn't have a personality. He's fake as fuck. J.D. Vance is the human equivalent of a remora. If you don't know what a remora is, if you ever seen sharks, sometimes there's like a little thing. It's like another little fish. It's like sucked up underneath the shark. So what a remora does is finds a shark, sucks up underneath of it, and then it feeds itself by eating the crumbs that the shark, because sharks they can't, when they bite something, a bunch of meat goes flying everywhere. And that's how they live, and that's how J.D. Vance lives, except he just hangs off these billionaires' nuts and gathers up whatever scraps fall his way. And I'm sure he has grand ambitions of being the successor to Trumpism, but I don't think that's going to happen because Trumpism is going to crash and burn way before this 4 years is over. Or we're going to be fighting because they're going to try to, the problem is they want to take over the government, but they're not really smart enough to do it. They're all a bunch of reality hosts and drunks, and this whole entire fiasco should dispel to you the myth that how much money a person has means they're fucking smart, because they're not. It's on full display. They always say Trump's trying to play chess. Trump's not trying to play chess. Trump's like a 12-year-old kid. He has the emotional level of as a human being, as a 12-year-old kid. He has no self-control. He's impulsive. It's like he's easily manipulated. They said Trump was mad because Zelensky didn't show up in a suit and come groveling and give him this proper, whatever suck up fucking bullshit he needs. And Zelensky ain't about that. Zelensky's trying to win a war. He's in the middle of a war. You realize that Putin sent a hit squad to kill Zelensky, and he did not leave. They bunkered up his fucking place, and he stayed there, and they were ready to fight. They were gonna go. He was gonna go down fight. And you're telling me that this guy gives a fuck about J.D. Vance? Like I said, he'd kill J.D. Vance with his bare hands in less than 5 seconds if it was just him and him. I said he could probably kill Trump, Vance, and Rubio, like I said, within 20 seconds with his bare hands, because neither one of them would do a goddamn thing but stand there and watch. Because they're a bunch of fucking, they said they're fake. Which I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but by any means, and I generally think that conspiracy theories are stupid. But the more and more and more and more I think about it, that thing that we all saw on live TV, I'm not sure that's real or not. There's all kinds of reasons why it's weird. Like that kid, what do we know about that kid? We don't know nothing about it, do we? They just kind of buried it. Who was that kid? Why was he trying to kill Trump? Why? No one knows. And why does his ear have no scar? That's the thing that there's no scar in his ear. Like he's walking around fucking a month with that fucking gauze on his ear. You'd think his ear was ripped off. Third, why didn't they just take him out? Why did they allow him to stand on the stage and go like this, fight? Like they don't know, right? They don't know what's going on. They don't know if there's more than one shooter. They don't know if somebody else is going to start shooting. The protocol. I worked security in Las Vegas for 3 fucking years while I was out there. The protocol in a situation like that is to get the person out somewhere safe. You don't let them Go, hold on a minute, hey, fight. That's unbelievable. But the thing that really got me was when it first happened, and he was on the ground, and they were ready to get him up, and he says, "Let me get my shoes." He's like, "What the fuck? How loose are your shoes, bro?" And they just came off. You need some fucking laces, bro. Then I read some story that they said it was they were custom Italian loafers, and that's why he wanted to get them. And you're like, he's a billionaire, right? I mean, he's always saying he's a billionaire. Like, he can't afford to get some more fucking loafers. You still see that cheap? I don't want to have to buy another pair of shoes. Let me grab these shoes real fast. Wing tips, yeah. Like I said, I'm not saying it was a setup. I'm just saying there's some suspicious activity involved in that. And who is the kid? Again, usually there's like a dateline or something, like, you know, a week after something like that happens. Who was this person? They dig all through their life and they tell you everything about them. Like, nobody ever did anything about that kid. They threw him in a box and that was the end of it. So we will never speak of this again. And they haven't really, have they? You don't hear them bringing that up too much. Well, he was shot. Like, I was watching that shit live. I was like, there's no way this is fucking happening. Really? And then it's nothing happened. It was almost like a photo op. Which is weird. Again, I'm not saying I am not a conspiracy theorist. This is not. Most of the time, I think that conspiracies are stupid. Because here's the deal: if there's more than two people involved in something, it's conspiracy. Most of that is the whole fucking world. So the whole world is conspiracy. Like, if people aren't that smart, they can't keep shit a secret. That's why these ridiculous conspiracy theories are fucking ridiculous. Because it would take thousands of people to fake the moon landing or whatever. You know, let's take any conspiracy theory. Okay, now you think that 1,000 people, let's just say it was 1,000. They got 1,000 people to keep a secret, and they didn't tell their kids or anybody that, you know, that, and no deathbed confessions. Or, you know, somebody's like, well, I'm about to die, but all right, we faked it. You know, like. Adventurous back then, and we wanted to do shit. The fact that we went to the moon in the 1960s, and then we just stopped going because capitalism. They're like, well, there's really nothing there to take advantage of. Now they're like, there is stuff there we want, and we know how to get it now. So now let's go back. You know, we can fucking rape it like we do the Earth. I don't know, man. It's I don't know where we're headed. Like I said, it's hard to imagine that there's not some grand plan by Putin and Xi and these guys. Because, man, even my friends, they don't realize how immersed I am in shit. Like, my friend just sent me a story that happened like 3 weeks ago. It's like January 6th, man killed in traffic stop. It's like, that happened weeks ago. And I'm in the chat, lots of chats, and people they post memes. You're like, I posted this meme 2 weeks ago on my page. What? Well, you're not following my page. It's like everything is like a rerun to me because I have my feed. Like I said, I've been mining memes and farming news for years and years and years. I was becoming the Matt Drudge of Facebook, basically, when Facebook shit canned me for life. Like thousands and thousands of people were following me. It took me 5 years to build that up. It's the same as this shit. This is going to take me years to build. If you guys don't help me, like, you got to just share the show and make it happen, because otherwise this is going to be a slow crawl. And I realize that. But I ain't got nothing else to do. I can't tour. I'm stuck here. So, like I was saying the other night, doing nothing is not an option. I gotta do something. I should have done this a long time ago. Is what I should have done. I was always, like I said, I was always on someone else's show as a third wheel or a guest. And everybody has a podcast. It's so fucking cliche now. And what are you going to do? Become so big that you become like Rogan? Like, Rogan is like state TV now. Like, he just brings on all the right wingers and let them fucking say whatever. I remember when Joe Rogan's show was interesting. It wasn't always a pile of shit. At one time it was a pretty interesting show. Plus, he was one of the first people to have a podcast, so he kind of developed the form. I will say that. I'll give him the credit for that. Although it wasn't his idea. It was Brian Redban's. Most of them had nothing to say. Right, exactly. The people he has on now. He used to have on interesting people all the time. I met Daniele Bolelli because I heard him on Joe Rogan's podcast. That's how we became friends. Well, I mean, I heard him on the podcast, and I messaged him I found it through his page. And I messaged him just to tell him I thought I liked the show. I never thought he would reply, and he replied. And then we started talking about Trump and fascism and history, and we just became friends. But the point is that it was an interesting show. And plus, Rogan was different then, too. Rogan sat and let the guests drive the show a lot. And then he just kind of asked dumbass questions, here and there. I mean, not dumbass questions, but I'm saying he would ask a question here and there and let the guest talk. And then somewhere down the line, Rogan started thinking that he was, I was saying, I never turned on Joe Rogan's show thinking, I wonder what Joe thinks about whatever. Like, the truth is, I don't give a fuck what Joe Rogan thinks about anything. I wanted to hear Neil deGrasse Tyson or Daniele Bolelli or Dan Carlin or whoever he had on. He had on all kinds of people. He had on that woman that runs the airport at the top of the world. It's on what's that show called? Damn, I can't remember. The show about the people who live in Alaska. I can't fucking remember the name of it, but Life Below Zero, that's what it's called. There's interesting people on that show. It's like people that are like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going all the way up there. There was a guy that lived in like a lean-to house that he built himself on the side of a lake. Ice Road Truckers, I remember that show too. Guy be driving the truck and the fucking ice be cracking and shit. You're like, man, you gotta be fucking. What was really funny though about that is you watch that Ice Road Truckers and you go, oh, I'd never do that. Those people got huge balls, and they do. like the ice crack and they're driving the truck on it. Like, that takes some balls. But they took those. They made another show. They took those people. It was called the World's Most Dangerous Roads or something like that. Like, and they took the ice road truckers and they took them to like India, and had them like driving a truck on a one-lane road on the side of a highway or on the side of a mountain. And some of those ice road truckers were like, "Fuck this." They got out and walked off. Meanwhile, the Indian dudes are honking behind them and shit. It's like, that shit was crazy. They're like thousands of feet in the air. There's like no guardrail. It's one lane, and sometimes another truck will come. You're like, "Oh, how you gonna pass?" You're fucking 10,000 feet in the air. This Peroni is pretty good. I gotta say, not bad. It's Italian. It's not hoppy. I hate those hoppy beers, IPAs and shit. I fucking hate that. I see a Tesla drive this cliffside road. Let's drive the Tesla off the cliff. How about we do that? They were protesting today at the Tesla in Ohio, but I couldn't go because I had to fucking work. Otherwise, I would have went. Like I said, I want to go and do mobile pieces for you, and I am going to, but I had to work, so I couldn't go. My friend, or the group chats I'm in, they sent some pictures of it. And the people in Vermont, this guy was skiing down the ski slope with a sign that said, "Vance is a traitor, go ski in Russia." I don't know, man. What's weird is there's a poll. Here's what was weird about those numbers. This is what tells you that it's a cult. Okay? 75% of Republicans, they said, I just saw this on CNN. That guy, I don't know his name, Sam something, that does all the numbers. He said 75% of Republicans want the Ukraine war to end, even if Vladimir Putin keeps land that he took. Okay? But there was another poll. It was like, do you trust Vladimir Putin? 81% of Americans say no. They don't trust Vladimir Putin. Okay, so that means 81% of people think Vladimir Putin is an asshole that we should not trust. But yet 75% of them who are Republicans think that we should just give him whatever he wants. See, this is the thing about MAGA. It doesn't make any sense. None of it. Like, here's another example. Marge, Large Marge Green, is running the Doge subcommittee because it's a bullshit. They finally gave her a committee because it's not a real committee. It's a make-believe playtime committee. So they were like, all right, you can run it, Marge. And Marge is at the committee talking about, oh, well, the U.S. government needs to be run like a business, and it wouldn't be bankrupt because we're going bankrupt. We're going to go bankrupt. And then she goes inside and votes for a $7 trillion deficit. We're going to go bankrupt, but let's run a $7 trillion deficit. In the same breath, they say these things. That's what, and it's gotten even worse. Like I said, everything that they do is based on bullshit. Okay? They banned trans people from sports. Okay. Like, how many of them are there? 10? Oh, you banned 10 people for transgender sports. Thank God we took care of this important issue. All right? What's next? We got to deport all the criminal aliens because they're all criminals and murderers, okay? And then you go, well, less than half of your deportations are criminals and murderers. Well, they're hard to find. Yeah, they're hard to find because they don't exist. And they're not eating your cats and dogs. It's not true. Half of their philosophy is based upon things that aren't even real. They say, oh, the gay and the trans people are the groomers, right? It's not the priests and the MAGA people and the Republicans that they arrest all the time for grooming kids. No, it's this mythical boogeyman of trans people and gay people. It's not real. It's not. It's never been. Like, they use that to put down gay people for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. The theory that all these gay people, they want to fuck your kids. Like, no, that's a pedophile. Not a gay person. It's two different things. A regular gay person just wants to suck some dick or eat some pussy or whatever, whatever they are. They're attracted to the same sex, but not children. Those are pedophiles, and like I said, are mostly priests, preachers, various religious types, and like I said, Republicans, MAGA people, the Tates. How about that? That's how you know they're full. This is how good they are at gaslighting. Almost all these dudes have been accused of sexual assault or beating up chicks or they're assholes. They're everything that they say they're against. And they say, oh, it's them that's doing this. It's the gays and the trans. And then, oh, Andrew Tate, come on in. And nobody does or says anything. They let them get away with it. Which, to me, that's the most mind-blowing part. That they let them get away with this shit. I mean, it's gotten so bad. They just let these dudes lie about everything with impunity, and there's not even a challenge anymore. Reporters just sit there, listen to them spew fucking mounds of bullshit, and they don't say anything. It's unbelievable. And this is how you know that the Zelensky thing was staged. Because I don't know if you know this, but you know who was there in the room? Russian state TV. Why is Russian state TV at a meeting with the Ukrainians and the President of the United States? Why are they there? What are they doing? Well, they're there to cover it. The people of Russia must know. I said all these things in 2015, and nobody. Well, I mean, some of you believe me, but a lot of people didn't believe me. A lot of people were like, "You're crazy. You're blowing this all out of proportion. You're like, they're not Nazis. They just walk like that." It says that. It's unbelievable. Yes, they streamed it to Putin, Dan Friedman says. Yes, they probably did. It's hard to say what's happening now. Like I said, it's a reality TV show. It's not even, it's hard to even take it seriously if it wasn't for the fact that people are dying. That's why Zelensky was so pissed. He's over there, right, picking up dead kids and bodies and talking to people whose families are killed every day, and they're getting drone attacked, on a daily basis. And then he's got to come here and deal with this fucking clown show. Are you fucking kidding me? That's the part of it that is infuriating, really, and just tells you just how out of touch the average American really is with what's real, They're all fat, sitting over here, brainwashed on their fucking propaganda, sitting on the couch. Ignorant of history and all these other things. And they've never had to deal with anything, The car breaking down. It's like, oh, that's the worst thing that's ever happened to me, Soft, dude. Americans are soft compared to a guy like Zelensky. Like I said, he's over there scraping bodies up off the ground and consoling families, bunkering up his Capitol building so that he can fight a hit squad that's coming to kill him. And to be talked to by J.D. Vance and Trump like that, come on. A draft dodger and a and the guy who was a venture capitalist intern for Peter Thiel. They're going to talk to this guy about about war and peace and all these other things, And what you don't get is, people don't understand is it's not that Zelensky doesn't want peace. Zelensky wants peace. What they want is for him to just surrender and give away his country. That's not going to fucking happen. And that's why he says, like, they've already had ceasefires that Putin just rolled right over. And what do you think is going to happen if they make a ceasefire deal and they cut off all the military aid to them and they're just sitting there? In 6 months or a year, he's going to go right back and take the rest. Because that's what people like that do. If you know anything about history, you know that that's what happens. You think that Vladimir Putin did all this just so he could get that little bit? Dan says, Zelensky said the ocean separates us from the horrors over there, but I predict those horrors will make it across that ocean. Well, see, that's what I'm asking. If Xi and Putin have a plan to isolate Trump, I said this a long time ago, and people said I was crazy, but it's not that far beyond the, Let's say they do have a secret plan, right? Russia, Trump, and China, right? They say, we're going to lure him in. And North Korea or whoever be with them. Iran. They isolate us. They lure him in. They say, yeah, you can be part of the whatever they're going to call it, the Trans-Siberian Alliance or Pan-Asian, whatever fucking fancy name they give it. Anyways, so here's the point. But they're not really. That's not really the end game for them. The end game for them is to suck us in, make us all alone, and then when they turn on us and they hit us from both sides, Russia from the east and China from the west. Like a hammer. Boom. What happens then? Well, that's what he said. We'll be alone. Well, that's the point. They leave NATO and alienate all our allies. Like I said, suck us in. Like, hey, we're China and we're Russia. Yep. And and all them years of hatred, they just gone away. No. Trump is an easy mark. And they see it. Yes, art of war shit. Bring your enemy close and then crush him when he's vulnerable. And these mega people, they know, America first, yeah! Never mind it. There hasn't really been a war. I mean, that we've won. when there wasn't other people involved, right? We won the Iraq War. Why? Because it's a coalition, right? Vietnam, didn't go so well, did it? We couldn't even beat Vietnam with all our military equipment and might, they couldn't do it. Didn't really win Korea, did we? Still North Korea in there. Fought to a stalemate. Like I said, we beat Iraq, but because there was a coalition. The coalition is what's going to win these wars, not the... If America's by itself... Like I said, they could crush us from both sides. Like I said, like a hammer. Bam, bam. And there's no way we could fight Russia and China together, alone. And like I said, Iran gonna get involved somehow. Right, Vinny says, I could see Trump making a big deal that it should be called a BRICS because he's the world's best negotiator. That's the thing, is like, these Trump people, they really think that he's smart. They really think that he's... It's unbelievable. Like, Trump is the easiest person to manipulate. And everybody knows it. Reporters know it. World leaders know it. All you gotta do is flatter him, say nice shit about him. He says, oh, like he said yesterday, he's saying, it's Russia. It was a Democrat hoax, and Putin, he went through that with me. Like that makes them buddies, Like Putin gives two fucks about Donald Trump besides the fact that he's an easy mark. That's why Donald Trump why Vladimir Putin wanted Donald Trump to be the president, not... And then people convince themselves, they go, oh, he's scared of Trump. It's like, is he scared of Trump? If he's scared of Trump, then why was he trying to get him elected? You want to elect the guy that you're scared of? Like, no. They don't use their fucking brains. Dan Freeman says the next phase might likely be for adversaries to send diseases over here to cause disruption, because brainworm Bobby, that's me, is going to screw us all on the health issues. He's already screwing us on the health issues. You didn't see that? They canceled the flu shot meeting, the annual flu shot meeting that they have every year, to where they pick out the strains that they think are going to be particularly virulent that year, and they put out vaccines for the flu shots for those. But old brainworm Bobby canceled the meeting. First he put it on hold, and then he canceled it completely. And the doctor said, well, that pretty much means there won't be no flu shots, because if they don't have this meeting, they won't have the strains picked out, and it takes 6 months to make the shots. So we're already fucked. The measles is already broken out in Texas and in New Mexico, and it's just getting worse and worse. And part of the dose, they cut a bunch of tuberculosis shit. We're going back to 1850. Everybody's gonna have tuberculosis and measles, the smallpox. The polio will be back soon. Just people be limping around. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. There's no way to even quantify how stupid this all is, and the fact that, like I was saying before, we have all this technology that makes it seem like the world is so advanced, and in the meanwhile, they're using all this technology to talk about how they're not going to take vaccines because the vaccine might hurt you. And meanwhile, they got measles. No, well, at least I didn't get that vaccine. It's like, all you can do is laugh because it's fucking, it's such a shit show of epic proportion that the television has dumbed people so hard that you ever watch like Deadwood or shows like that where uh, even the talk is like all intellectual, like big words, and you know because all people did was read books back then. You either read books or you were illiterate. It was like one or the other. And they talk like Shakespearean talk, you know, like I said, with big words and now they have all these teen slangs. There's a commercial where the guy says on the radio every morning I go to work. You hear this commercial, and the guy says, "Where they go? You could be an awesome dad to some teen," and this guy starts talking about teen slang, and he's like, "Totes." Totes is a way of saying totally. It's like, yeah, because totally is so long of a word. It's like, we need to cut that down. A totes love your whatever, you know. You're like, dude, really? This is where we're headed? It's like, these kids got phones, quantum computers in their hands. And they're like, let's cut down the words to like one syllable. Pretty soon it's be caveman talking, grunts. Ooh, 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 no, ooh, ooh. It's so fucking dumb. I can't even wrap my head around it. Anyway. I'm not going to be like Joe Rogan and do 4-hour shows. So we're coming up on an hour. I finally figured out where the clock is. Because this is weird. The streaming program I use, I guess it only works for an hour. Because at 60 minutes, it disconnects and then reconnects right away. But it disconnects itself in 1 hour. So I was doing a show and I looked at it and said, oh, it's disconnected. It's like, what? And then it connected itself. So it only goes in hour increments. It'll disconnect and reconnect. Somehow it stays on the same video. Because I was like, oh, just start another video. And then that one's only like 5 minutes long because it's the end of the show. Cache issue. No, I think it's just the program. I said it only goes for an hour. It's 60 minutes. I said it'll disconnect. And then, but it'll reconnect itself again within like, you know, the whole thing probably took like 20 seconds maybe. But it was a weird disconnect for a second. It disconnects, reconnects. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go out tonight, I think. And, well, I already had a beer, so. The gate is open. I'm like a binge drinker. Like if I usually don't drink at all. But if I have one beer, then now, okay, it's on. Yeah, blame Trump. Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I hardly ever do anything anymore. That's the problem. Is I had an extremely active, busy life. For the last 5 or 6 years, I did all kinds of stuff, and then I had to come back here, and now I'm just like stuck in this limbo. Oh, you blame Trump for the hour limit. I'm surprised Trump lets me come on the air at all. I'm sure if you ask him, that reminds me of. We're going to get Trump on here soon. Maybe next week. I'll try to get him. Yeah, man. Thank you for watching, Vinny. And yeah, I'm gonna get out of here, have some beers, I think. Like I said, the Tesla protest was going on today. It's happening. It's going on all over the country. It's disrupting them. It's costing them money. So don't think for a second that your voice is not effective. It is. And we should, I should wear the fuck Trump shirt. Yeah, no, I need to get another one. It got lost somehow when I moved several times. It got lost. I can't find it. So I have to buy a new one. But yeah, I should wear that probably. I don't want to make that my whole personality. It was a fuck Trump. I didn't. People always think that that's what I do in stand-up, and it's not. I don't spend my time. You only have limited stage time to be on stage, and I'm not going to spend it all talking about him. Make it the background. I kind of like the rug. Like Bob said, it ties the show together. This is what we're going for, really. Is I mean, you have to talk about this stuff because I don't think that people realize how much danger they're really in. I really don't. That's the other part of it. It's like people are just willing to just give away their freedoms, give away their fucking rights. You know, you're like, dude, your parents, your grandparents, they fought for these rights. You're just willingly giving them away. Dan said the stream is good, sounds good, looks nice. Yeah, no, that's good. That's good, thank you. I bought, like I said, I bought some stuff. I'm not a tech wizard, but I figured out how to make what I needed to make it happen. All I want is for the show to be interesting. So if it's not interesting, then tell me, because I gotta fucking do something to spice it up. I set up this chat. Like I said, this chat works. Supposedly it works on Facebook and YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can comment, but all these comments have been coming from Facebook. So I have yet to get a YouTube comment. So next time you guys watch the show, go to YouTube and try to talk to me. And if I don't respond to your comments, then you know it ain't working. But I'm getting the Facebook comments, so I should get them. I should get them. Anyway, I appreciate you. I know, I can see. It tells me where they're coming from. I see your little icon, and I see the F by your name. What I'm saying is, since I've been doing this show, I have yet to get a YouTube comment. The guy that lives up the street, he watched the show, but he didn't watch it live. He commented, and I got it in my email. I'm talking about live. If you're watching live and you're on YouTube, comment on the stream, and then that way I'll know if it works. I mean, if you knew how, like, not very good at computer savvy I am, the very fact that I've gotten this far tells you, like, if I've set on something, I'll get it done, one way or the other. Once I put my mind to something, I make it happen. Now, if this becomes anything, that's another question, but I said, if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. All right, and what I'm going to do now is go out and have a beer. So, I'll be back on Tuesday, 6 o'clock Eastern, and it's Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 6 o'clock. Thank you for hanging out.